Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Eigo. How's your week this week? Did it go well? As for me, I had a really good week. We're getting back into the new semester where I'm teaching, and all of the students are coming in. They have good attitudes. They seem eager to learn, and we are very, very eager to teach them. And so we're looking forward to a very happy and successful semester. So today, first of all, I have to apologize for something. Outside the window where I'm recording, there is some construction going on. So every once in a while, you may hear some strange noises. Just want to let you know, it's not me. It's the construction going around outside. And so I apologize for that in advance. So today, before getting in today's lesson, let's review what we did last week because it's so important. And that is, we looked at the key structure of English. Remember I told you about this? If you haven't seen last week's video, I highly recommend that you go and look at it and listen to what I have to say there, because it is the most important point when you are trying to make an English sentence. So we told you that an English key structure consists of subject, verb, and other things. Subject in Japanese meaning shugo for you Japanese speakers, verb meaning doshi, and other means just other things. So this is the very basic key structure in English. Any kind of English sentence can be made using pieces or putting together blocks, and each block of English generally consists of a subject, a verb, and other stuff, with some very small exceptions, but very big percentage, more than 90% of English is made up of blocks that consist of a subject, a verb, and other information. So today we're going to be moving on from this, and we're going to be talking about the verb. And now there are many different types of verbs, so we're going to be doing this over the next couple of weeks. First, we're going to cover the three major kinds of verbs, which is transitive, intransitive, and linking verbs. And then in the future, we'll be going into more specialized verbs types like prepositional verbs and phrasal verbs. But that's for the future. Today, what we'll be talking about is called intransitive verbs. Now, intransitive verbs, big long word. Japanese, it means jidoshi. English, we say intransitive verbs. Now, an intransitive verb, put simply, is a verb where nothing receives the action of the verb. Okay? So, for example, if you say, I run, just I run. There's no receiver. If you say, I am reading a book. So read a book. Book is receiving the action of read. So an intransitive verb doesn't have a receiver of the action. The receiver of the action, if you're interested in your grammar, is called the direct object. You don't need to remember this for your English speaking, just if you like grammar. So an intransitive verb doesn't have a direct object. If you say, I am reading a book is the direct object. It receives the action. If you say, I ran, no direct object. So run is an intransitive verb. Easy, Not so easy. We have all kinds of crazy exceptions and rules that we're going to have to cover. But for now, very simply, let's talk about intransitive verb. No direct object. Okay? So if we come over here and look at some intransitive verb structure, we have an intransitive verb, jidoshi, like I told you. It's the simplest structure of English. Very simple. In theory, now this is theory only, in theory, you can make a two-word sentence using an intransitive verb. Look at these in the examples here. Subject is they, verb, ran. Okay, so the sentence is, they ran. Next one, he sang. Next one, the cat jumped. These are all, according to grammar, grammatically, good sentences. No problem. However, usually we don't use sentences like this because they're too short, so short that they don't really have any good information. Sometimes we could have two-word sentences. For example, let's say my hobby is running, and you ask me, what is your hobby? I could say, I run. In that case, it's okay. It means I run all the time. But to answer a question, we might use a two-word sentence. But generally speaking, we don't use them so much. So how do we use intransitive verbs in standard, natural, normal conversation? Look here. Generally speaking, we'll have the subject and the intransitive verb, that's called INTVERB in this tag. Subject, intransitive verb, and generally we put other information at the end. Okay? Look at these samples that we have here. Now, I'm going to read these, and as I read these, I'll read through them one time, we'll repeat later, but just for now, just listen. Notice how I group my words in this kind of a sentence. I told you last week, subject and verb should stay together. Remember that? So we want to say subject and verb together. So I'm going to do that, group the subject and verb, pause slightly, and then say the other stuff. Please listen one time, and then we'll try repeating. They ran towards the street. He sang all day. The cat jumped high. The birds flew over our heads. They smiled at each other. My friend moved to Chicago. You see how I did that? Subject, verb, other. Subject, verb, other. Very important. Let's try it one more time. I'll read them one more time. I'll pause in between the sentences, and you can try reading the sentence after me. Remember, subject, verb, slight pause, other. Please repeat. They ran towards the street. He sang all day. The cat jumped high. The birds flew over our heads. They smiled at each other. My friend moved to Chicago. So, how did you do? Could you get that grouping correct? Subject, verb, slight pause, other? If you did, that means you are on your way to becoming an advanced English speaker. Well, to tell you the truth, that's it for today's one-on-one English lessons. Transitive verbs are pretty easy, pretty simple to use. We got some rules that will come up later when we start talking about transitive verbs. But today's English lesson is just on intransitive verbs, so pretty short. I have also, just to let you know, I'm going to be also uploading a second video this week. And this second video, I'm not going to be teaching you anything. It's a video that contains my reading of 50 intransitive verb sentences. Now, I'm going to read them very carefully, nicely, and naturally, where I group the subject and verb and then say the other part, and I'll give you a chance to repeat after me. Now, I'm going to be uploading videos such as this on a regular basis, and I strongly urge you to use these to practice your intonation and your grouping. If you do this step by step, and they will become more and more difficult as we go along, but if you do this week by week, it will help you improve your grouping. It'll help you improve your vocabulary. I think it'll help you improve your listening. Okay? So look for the next video. I'll upload it in a few minutes right after this one. 50 intransitive verb sentences that you can use to practice your speaking and listening ability. So that's the end of today's lesson, and I'll see you next week when I'll be telling you about transitive verbs here on Edward Eigo. Oh, and by the way, as usual, in the show notes underneath this video, I'll be including some vocabulary notes, and I'll be including other important information that you might want to see. So look in the notes below. Also, our membership is growing very slowly. The last time I checked, we have about 30 members. Very, very tiny, but 30 members is 30 more than what I had when we first started. So if you could, please tell your friends about this or share this on your social media. Also, it helps our channel very much if you like a video or if you make a comment in the video, even just to say hello. Hello, Edward, how are you? And I'll say hello back. Or if you have a question, you can put it here. Or if you have a comment, if you have a request, you could put it here. Or you can write me an email. Email address will be in the show notes down below. So if you can like the video, if you can make a comment, it will help us. YouTube loves comments, loves likes, and of course loves members. So if you can, encourage your friends to join, it make me happy, and it will help me to make more and more videos. So once again, thank you, and look for the second video where I read you 50 intransitive verb sentences, and I'll see you next week when I'll be giving you a lesson on transitive verbs, which are much more challenging than intransitive verbs. Okay, see you later.